Awesome. All right. Welcome back to another spontaneous live stream. So this is unplanned, unscheduled, but it is Monday at 6 o'clock for me, 6 p.m. So technically we're kind of on schedule, but anyway, once again, we are just kind of like in between projects and tidying up as long as like as well as doing some other things happening on my desk. There's always something going on. But I thought that we could like continue off of some of the things that we were talking about last time on stream. Let me just check to make sure that the chat is running just right. Oops. My broadcasting software. I usually just have to refresh the catch. Yo, Barry Blue, what's up? Okay, we're good. Sweet. Yeah. Okay, so last time on stream, like at the last stream that we did, I think it was on Saturday, we went pretty late. It was what I did was I got my old laptop. Let me show you this thing. Hold on a second. Let me show you this thing. Oh, first of all, we forgot to do this. Hold on. Boom. Not even filming anything. You guys see this thing right here? This monstrosity? Oh, Barry Blue, you are a trooper. Welcome. But yeah, this monstrosity right here. This is it's so old it's not even my old laptop. It was my family's laptop. This was the laptop that this was the MacBook that my whole household shared when I was a kid. And it was the same laptop that I started Brick Bob Films on when I was like, I started the channel when I was 11, but I started filming episodes before that. But yeah, so I was trying to power this thing on the other night, and it was like the OS could like barely get started. Like Finder kept crashing and restarting over and over. But miraculously, I did get it to power on, and I was hoping. I think I said on stream, I was like, if I could find just one lost piece of media that I made when I was a kid, I would consider it a win. And yeah, it was just I did find an animation miraculously that I have not seen in over 10 years. So, I am working on getting the data off of this thing because there's about like 500 gigabytes of data on this, and the computer barely functions, but I will do everything I can to get the data off because it would just be so cool if I could pull some of these up again. Yeah, so the animation, there's an animation that I made when I was a little kid. It was one of the first that I made. I think it was one of the first that I ever made using my old stop motion software. It's called The Nightmare Before Breakfast. When I started doing stop motion on my own, my relative bought me this stop motion book that was super cool. It was awesome. And what it did was it had like a whole bunch of different stop motion animated film ideas, and every segment of the book told you how you could make it. Sometimes it came with resources to help you make it, like some pages had cardboard cutouts, and every single chapter had, I don't think QR codes were super mainstream back then, but they had a link to their YouTube channel where you could watch the animations that the team made just for inspiration. So one of the animations I made is it's on this computer. I could not get it to open up because QuickTime Player is miraculously not working on this. I don't think any of the video files are playing, which is definitely a tease, but it makes it all the more enticing to get the information and data off of this computer. So, to be continued, but yeah, I bought like an antiquated old charger for it on Amazon, and once I plugged it in, like I heard the disk drive make its activation sound. Haven't heard that in so long. Oh, I don't have my water bottle. It's gonna be a doozy. What's up, everybody? Yeah, I know that like I like to do things scheduled, but there's definitely gonna be some spontaneous streams every now and again. You got your wisdom teeth removed. Uh, Jacob, so the book, I do not have the book, unfortunately, but I can show you what the book is. Let me look it up really quick. Yeah, don't expect like a whole lot of like exciting like production stuff to happen tonight. I do have a client project I'm working on right now, but I need to order a few more containers for my clay because I ran out of the Tupperware that I was working with the other night. But I don't know if you guys can see this. My light is in the way. But almost all of my clay is now stacked neatly in these Tupperwares, so they're not getting dusty anymore. But I need to get a few more though. Let me see if I can find that book, because I'm curious what it's called. I think it's still in print. Ah, okay. This is it. They did do a rebrand, which is a little weird. But the company is called Hue. It's just called Hue, Hue. Yeah, this is the book. How do I get it on screen? I'll add a source. Screen capture. This should do it. Yeah, this is it. All right. Awesome. I have to readjust it. You see that? This is the book. So I believe it was called like the Sam Animation book, because that's what the program used to be called. It was called Sam Animation. And the crazy thing was, let me get that out of the way a bit so you can see my beautiful face. The crazy thing was that like you can't get Sam Animation anymore, I don't think. Now I think you can only get Hue Animation, but Sam Animation is still downloaded on that old computer. When I saw the logo, it was like taking a step back in time to when I first started doing animations for YouTube. Yeah, this book is awesome. Yeah, you see that? So what was really cool about the book, this is something that I've talked about like with my students as well, is that like when I've taught animation, is it's not just like you can see here you have a little clay man, like an idea for like animating a clay man on a tabletop, but it wasn't just clay. They just had all of these cool uses for stop motion. You could animate toy cars, you could animate uh, kitchen, like basic kitchen stuff. So this is called Nightmare Before Breakfast. This was literally what inspired me to make my version, which is currently stuck on my old computer. I'm really hoping I can pull it off though. Oh, Berry Boy. Yeah, actually, so I do plan on doing Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 2 first before 3, but because that wait, I think I have him right here. Yeah, because this Man Ray figure just showed up on eBay, which is very unusual because this is like a really rare figure. I just wanted to get him now. But yeah, I have like this idea for Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 2. I will do Dirty Bubble with clay animation, kind of like with Mr. Magic for Hocus Pocus. But anyway, back to the book. Yeah, stuff with food, stuff with clay, stuff with uh, sticky notes, stuff with people animating outside, paper doll stuff. The book actually came with like these. It came with some mouths for this pineapple right here, and it came with the I think the whole paper dolls except maybe the heads for this paper doll dance. There was one where they animated in sand, one where they reverse animated, like they did a time lapse and reversed the footage for ice cream. This was just such a good book. It it was ingenious for getting you acclimated with the program, but it made making the films so much more approachable, and it meant a lot to me. And yeah, and then after I made these, I was doing Lego animations and later uh, Lego SpongeBob themed Lego animations. But yeah, this is a really good book. You could probably find a copy on eBay. I don't think you want to order it on this website because it's like really expensive. I think it might be international too, so it makes the shipping really expensive. But I would highly recommend like looking this book up on eBay if if you're curious at all. But this was a great book. All right, I don't know how to stop sharing that, so I'm just gonna remove it. Sweet, awesome. Yeah, I remember when I got my wisdom teeth taken out. How old was I? I think I was 21. I had a blast when I got my wisdom teeth taken out, as weird as that sounds. Yeah, everyone else I knew, like, they had their teeth taken out at, like, maybe around 18 or 19 years old, but I was 21. So, like, one of my wisdom teeth had already come in, and the other one was, like, trying to come in, but just couldn't because it was, like, impacted. And then there were two more that hadn't even erupted. But yeah, I like, no one ever, like my dentist never said anything to me about my wisdom teeth, so I thought I was special. And I was like, oh great, nobody, like, no, everyone's had their wisdom teeth taken out, but no one said anything to me, so I guess I'm in the clear. But then I asked my dentist one day, and they did that, what is it, the panoramic, like, scan, the 360 scan. I don't know what you call it. But yeah, they did the scan, and they were like, oh no, you have to have them taken out. And I was like, shoot, I thought I was in the clear, because just no one said anything. And then the day that I showed up for my surgery, the surgeon comes out and is like, he says to me, he's like, all right, Lorenzo, so you know your teeth are really like close to coming out, so like they've almost erupted. So on a scale of 1 to 10, taking out your teeth is probably going to be like a 2. And I was like, oh sweet. So yeah, he took them out, and it they were like, I remember one of the, I'm trying to think what the word is. One of the holes just shut immediately in the healing process, and the other ones weren't that bad. I actually have my teeth in the closet because they gave them to me because they were like whole. Yeah, just a little advice for any of you guys who haven't gotten your wisdom teeth out. If you want, if you want your to keep your teeth, you gotta, like, the deeper they're in, I think the more they have to divide them up. What's up, everybody? Yeah. No, we're just like, once again, we're in between projects, sort of, or in between filming, rather. I do have a project on the table. There's just always something going on. Hold on a second. My garbage bin is right here. So I just shipped out one of those Gygus pieces. Only a couple left, and I'm not certain if I'm going to sell the last one. I might keep it for myself, because I don't know if I'm going to be painting any with by brush. If I were to make another Gygus piece or another cast, I would want to do it by airbrush. But I have a client that I'm working for right now, and I'm making this piece for them, which needs to be photographed. I can't give, I'm not going to give too much information about it because it is a client project, but like, you know, it's just on my desk. Let's see how that short is doing. Because I just put a little short out on Brick Bob Films. That's looking pretty good. Yeah, because I got that Man Ray figurine. Have to get something for the puppet putty. Did I just unplug the light? I think I did. Where are you? And we're back. you see how much filler clay we have? Look at this. I could like weigh it on a bathroom scale. Oh, I have this like puppet that I never used. Then we have some just random bits. Right. I think we're good. So this is Van Aken plastilina, which actually, here you go. This is what it looks like. This is what I mainly use, but I also use puppet putty, which is a clay that my friend makes. It's good stuff, but it's not at all like Van Aken plastilina. Van Aken plastilina you can get in 1 pound increments like this, 1 pound units. And you could also get, what's this, 4.5 pounds. White gets dirty very fast, so I have to get a lot of it. I love how bright and vibrant and colorful Van Aken plastilina is. It also handles really well. Only thing is it's very heavy, and it gets so much residue on your hand. So you're gonna have to get used to cleaning off your fingers a lot. As for puppet putty, it's way lighter than Van Aken plastilina, and it doesn't leave residue on your hands, which is awesome. And it's a wax clay, so it just handles differently if you've ever worked with like wax clay before, because like I could use puppet putty for a while and my hands will be like kind of clean, but this stuff is very oily. It's very oily, and it's more messy, but it's good stuff. Very usable. Oh wait, I can see the face from Squid Bob Tentacle Pants mashed up in the corner there from the one in the hospital scene. Yeah, Berry Blue. So YouTube, they have this tool. I think it's a new tool. At least I think. I don't know how long it's been around, but it's an AI feature where it can use the data from your video to generate a thumbnail that'll be more clickable for your video. It's just something that I'm playing around with, but I do use AI to help me with some administrative tasks in marketing, kind of like an assistant, but don't worry, my animation is not generated with AI. This is a handmade product here. All right, so like I'm gonna get stuff for the puppet putty, but also like we have a lot of black. The main thing here is like figuring out how much volume I'm gonna need the Tupperware to be. Yeah, it's like, look, I'm not gonna like dance around it or anything. I know that it's that doing like doing engaging with AI in any way is very controversial, like especially like as a creator. Um and like I'm just like experimenting with it. There are ways that AI can, I think, legit help perform a lot of these tasks with, you know, like a lot of the administrative tasks or a lot of the extraneous work to like running a business, but by all means it's not something that you can just let do all the work for you. And I am not planning on using it for like animation in my work anytime soon. Yeah, yeah. So in like that's the thing in Brick Bob films, I have a lot of fun using the clay to like do a crazy effect to just like really throw people off because like the 2D animation in SpongeBob, that would like there were so many like hyper realistic disgusting moments. Like I remember, what was it? To Love a Patty or The Splinter. Like there were I remember my mom said that there was just like there were a few years where like she couldn't stand to like watch SpongeBob. She would still get me like the DVDs and stuff cuz she knew that like the show meant a lot to me, but it wasn't until like it wasn't until I got older that like I would ask kids or people my age like, "Oh, did you watch SpongeBob as a kid?" And they'd say, "Oh no, I wasn't allowed to watch SpongeBob." And that blew my mind because I just thought that SpongeBob was just such a defining thing for my generation. Like, do any of you guys know? Like, did any of you know kids growing up that weren't allowed to watch SpongeBob? I just assumed that every kid watched SpongeBob when I was younger. It was just such a good show. It changed a lot after the first feature film, but you know. In preparation for making more episodes of Brick Bob Films, I've been rewatching like my favorite seasons of SpongeBob, or at least the episodes that I grew up with, to just kind of like, just kind of get in the zone. And it's been a lot of fun. It was a very brilliant show. And doing doing a like doing my own version of it on YouTube with my own animation is like it's like an expression of how much the show means to me. Like just recently I was thinking about, man, SpongeBob wasn't a show that I loved as a kid and then just it wasn't one of those things that I loved as a kid and then looked back on when I got older and was like, oh, this is a really just it's for kids. But like no, so I think to myself, I'm like, shoot, if I could if I could have started a YouTube channel about any show, I am so glad that I picked SpongeBob. I mean, of course, I had the Lego SpongeBob sets, sure, but like, how lucky was I? Corey, so Yes, I have actually, like, oh my gosh, the project that we just finished, the Popeye reanimated collab, that was an animation that was done pretty much all on a green screen. I had I filmed the characters on a green screen. I filmed the sets on a green screen, and then I painted like a backdrop in a 2D space. So like I did the backdrops on my iPad, and then I composited all of them together. So the animation had layers to it. But yeah, the technology for doing a green screen is just so it's so easy nowadays, you know? Yeah, like yeah, Jacob, it is a remake, but there are also opportunities where I can kind of give my own flavor to it, my own direction to a scene cuz like I like that I can take a scene and push it more if I see fit. So like the fight sequence from One Crab's Trash. I pushed that and what is it? The Squid Bob Tentacle Pants, the scene where they're teleporting to all those different environments. That was another example where I could push it more. I like being able to take these moments, these sometimes small, sometimes big moments from episodes of SpongeBob and just like really put them into a whole new level. And I love that I have this skill that I can do with it. But I don't think I would have had the confidence to do that if I didn't take a break from Brickbob Films for almost 3 years. When I when I did what was it? Yeah, when I took a break, when I ended Brickbob Films in 2016, I just the first thing I said, I was like, all right, I don't want to work with Legos. I want to work with clay. I want to get better at this. And then in 2017, I made so many clay animation films. I swear, for all this, I feel like I like need a bucket. There's just so much. 'Here are the measurements. This. It's like the widest one. 14.9 cups. All right. Definitely need one for the white because white is just so volatile. Fortunately, there's There's not too much papa putty. I ordered a whole bunch of orange and blue for some reason because I had like this idea for like a an animation. Then I got sidetracked. As usual, you have so many ideas, but like really they're all competing with each other to get out of my head. So I'm hoping, of course, like with enough growth that I could upscale, get more projects out. But right now I'm just one me, and you usually have to kind of go with whatever needs to get made now for one reason or another. Sometimes it's because of a deadline or a paycheck or audience waiting. $14 cup. Yeah, the other thing about working with the modeling clay for the animation is because you're because all the clay needs to be stored separately and there can be quite a lot of it, large chunks, you kind of just have to pull all of it out and then the next thing you know, you just have so many different colors on your desk. Yeah, Jacob, like there is a frustration with not being able to do every project, but that's just life, you know? So there is an enjoyment of it. Like there's a gratefulness in it. Like I say that it's not just the projects, like my projects that I've made, it's not just those that motivate me, it's the projects that I haven't made and wanting to make them one day. That can really, keep you going. I'm looking at different sets of Tupperware. They always do it like 22-piece set, 34-piece set. I wish they could just say how many containers there were. 22-piece. You know, just say 11. 11 containers. Yeah, I can't wait to see what I can find on the old computer. It's great that there's already one old animation that I uncovered. I'm trying to temper my expectations is the thing, but if I could find more, oh, that'll just be so much fun to talk about. I would gladly revisit those on stream with all you guys. multiple pieces. 14.66. About the same volume as this. $7.81. 5.26. 4.92. Most frustrating episode. I think someone asked me like what was my least favorite episode or most favorite. It's hard to say in particular because I've made like over 100 over the course of what, 13 years at this point. Let me just think for a bit. I still need to revisit. I need to revisit the episodes that I made during my childhood. I'm hoping once I get like fans from Brickbot Films, like once I bring them all over and be like, hey, let's do some work streams, I could have a dedicated evening where we just go over all these original, like these old videos. Like, let me just pull up my channel for a sec. Because the most, I guess, the freshest, the new episodes, the ones that I've been making since 2019, those are just fresh on my mind. The other ones just feel like ancient history at this point. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I could say that the most, okay, in terms of frustrating, I guess reaction from I guess the most difficult, one of the most difficult episodes I made on Brickbob Films was definitely One Crab's Trash. But that was like meant to be difficult, you know? Like I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was walking into. Okay, you know what? I'll never forget this. Here's a memory I just had. The episode, this is an old video too, but the episode Dying for Pie. That episode left, it impacted me. On the surface, it's not really a special episode. There's nothing remarkable about it. It just seems like your typical, you know, old episode of Brickbob Films. But I'll never forget that when I was making it, I was really disappointed in how the animation would sync up with the audio. So the way that I used to do things was, when I first started doing animation, you know, the animation was all I cared about. I wasn't interested in, you know, having like a very professional production pipeline. I just wanted to animate. So for me, the priority was just doing the animation, and the sound effects were just more of an afterthought because I was never an editing guy. So what I would do as a kid was I would record the entire episodes, and I would hold down the image capture button. I would hold it down and I would say the lines and then the I would release the image capture button, and then I would film all day, and after filming, I would record all the lines. I don't think I would do them all in one take. No way was I that good, but I would record after filming all the footage. And I heard when I was a kid that that's actually the opposite of what you should do in animation, how usually actors will record lines first and then the animators will animate along to it. And when I was a little kid, that sounded really intimidating to me. So I just persisted and just kept doing that for years. I would film first, record after. But the more, I guess, critical I became of my animated films, the more I started to notice that I did not like how the audio sounded, because when you look at my old episodes of Brick Bob Films, the audio syncing up with the animation is just so amateur. It's so clumsy. It's very obvious that I was trying to keep up with the footage at time, like just it was not synced up properly. I was like trying to keep up with the footage. I'd slip up lines. And yeah, I remember making the episode Dying for Pie, and that I think was like the first episode that I ever uploaded where I was like legit disappointed with how it came out. I still uploaded it because I had to make the deadline. But after that, that was when I started thinking, like, this can't go on forever. There has to be a way that I could improve, like not have to worry about the audio and the the video working against each other, you know? I think I made some more episodes after that using the old method, but I think the first episode I ever made where I recorded the audio first and then filmed along to it was the episode Arg, the one where they go on the treasure hunt. I think that was the first episode. And once I did that, I never did it the old way again. Never. But yeah, Dying for Pie. That was that was yeah, that was the first episode that I was like disappointed with and just frustrated by how it turned out. I'm not. Yeah, here's the thing. So, like, I don't have anything against that episode. Like, it's a perfectly good episode of SpongeBob. But, like, that's the thing. There's a lot. I made a lot of episodes from the pre SpongeBob movie era. But there's a lot of episodes that I would like to I think could really be improved by a remake, but there's also a lot where I don't think it's really worth it. Of course, I could remake any of those episodes that I made during childhood, and I'm sure they would turn out great, but I do think that the episode needs to have enough going for it to warrant a remake. So like for instance, Survival of the Idiots. I made that when I was 13, I think. And then I remade it when I was 19. Now, the remake of Survival of the Idiots has probably got to be one of my favorite episodes of Brick Bob Films of all time. Like, I love how that one turned out. You know, it's not perfect, but it's such a good episode of SpongeBob. It's so good, and couple in with the fact that you have like this giant scary sandy monster, and I just thought like, wow, with my modern skills, like my current skill level, what I can do with the clay, what I can do with the special effects, bringing all those things together that I just did not even come close to knowing how to do when I was 13. It was just like, yeah, gotta remake this. Yeah, there's sometimes it's a combination of how good the episode is on its own, what I can bring new to the table, how much demand there is for the episode, and then I'll remake one of my legacy animations or legacy videos. Hey, welcome back. Yeah, we're tidying up the studio. I do have a client project that I'm working on, but I'm ordering more Tupperware for all of this clay here. We did get a lot of it packaged up, which is great. But as you can see, there's still a lot more to go. Yeah, I don't like having this stuff even sit in the closet and risk collecting dust because I keep my clay as clean as possible already, but for someone who's very freaky about keeping his clay very clean and ready to film, just this old system I have of having it wrapped up in cellophane, it's not working for me. It's not like I'm buying new clay all the time because this stuff is like infinitely reusable. So I'm just getting ready to order more. Yeah, Jacob. Yeah, it's just like, of course, the old one, I'm not going to take it down. Anyone can enjoy it. Like, I saw somebody said, they commented, like, Lorenzo, this video was so good, and I love what you did with Sandy, but nothing will ever top the Donkey Kong figurine. And I thought to myself, I'm like, yeah, like, yeah, of course, there's a lot of improvement, but the old one, I think now that because there's an improved version, people can go back and watch the old version with a new appreciation because now now that one doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to have all the special effects. It's just a charming relic of its time, you know? I mean, the modern one that I made, the one I made in 2021, it doesn't have as many views as the one I made when I was 13. And and even if it did have more, like so what? The old one I think now has a whole new appeal. It's kind of like when the new Mario movie came out in not the Galaxy movie. I mean like the one that came out in 2023, I think it was. Like once that movie came out, people developed a whole new appreciation for the bad one, the bad Mario movie from what, 1993? Because now that all of us Mario fans had a film that really represented what the games were like, we were now able to appreciate the old one specifically for being different. I think it's kind of like the same thing. I'm just putting this in here. I don't care. It's a slightly different shade of red, but that's okay. Yeah, I just like, oh man. There's I'm so grateful for Brick Bob Films for a lot of for so many different reasons. But I am really excited at the idea of making an episode while streaming and being able to connect with the audience in the way that I've been able to connect with just, with all you guys while working on Popeye, for example. Because, Popeye, if I didn't stream that, it would have just been like a small project. You guys wouldn't have heard from me for months, and then I would have uploaded it, and you guys would have been like, great job, and that's cool and all. But being able to kind of like make the film with you guys, that just adds a whole layer of memory to it. Like the experience of making it, it's something that we could all share together. And it's made me think a lot about Brick Bob Films, like, oh, now I could do that when working on episodes. Because I used to think that it would be way too cumbersome to live stream a production session, not just for Brick Bob Films, but for everything, for any project. But no, the Popeye project, I'd say, was a massive success, and the animation hasn't even come out yet. It's not even, I haven't even uploaded or published the file to this channel. But I still consider it a success because it was an animation that I got to make with all you guys. So, screw it. Why not do the same for Brick Bob Films? Yeah, there's so many episodes of Brick Bob Films that I would that I think could have a really cool Lego stop motion clay animation treatment. Like there's a lot of ideas I have for Brick Bob Films. And at least with doing these live streams, now I could make those videos without having to vanish for months at a time, either on this channel or on Brick Bob Films. It's just like last year I said that I wanted to unify my presence on not just on YouTube, but on social media. I kind of sort of consider YouTube social media. It's kind of like sort of, but no. And just keeps on going. I saw a piece of red clay fall, and I don't know where it is. Just hope it's not mashed into my clothing. Oh, here it is. It's such a quotable show. I think I've talked about this on YouTube before, but do you guys know that when I started Brick Bob Films as a kid, I never read the script for any of those videos. That's why there's some mistakes, more than some, in the dialogue for the episodes. But no, I watched my SpongeBob VHS tapes so much that I committed the episodes to memory. So when I would record the lines, that was me doing it by heart. I don't know when I started reading the transcripts, because nowadays when I am recording lines for an episode of Brick Bob Films, I always look at the transcripts just to make sure I'm getting it right. But no, back then, I just knew all those episodes by heart. Dozens of episodes I knew by heart. I remember that my family told me a story about when I was learning how to not just talk, but like talk in sentences when I was very young. And I actually had memory of this. I had this CD of, it was like an audiobook of, what was it? Sam I Am, Green Eggs and Ham. I had an audiobook of Green Eggs and Ham that I would listen to on my mother's stereo. And I loved it so much and listened to it so much that I committed the whole thing to memory. I must have been like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think how old I was. Maybe around 5. But I was... Okay, okay, probably younger if I was like learning how to form sentences. I don't know what the timeline is on that, but I I committed the whole thing to memory, and I distinctly, like, to this day, there are certain lines from that audio book that I remember crystal clear. And my uncle said that, like, I came to their house one day, and when I was, I was just reciting the the book, and he was like, what? Huh? Yeah. That was me and my siblings, like that's how we all were when we spoke. We didn't just say like a word, like we were saying full sentences. That's how we all were. Yeah. I have to find that audiobook because I'm thinking about it. Green eggs and ham stop motion. Oh, it's funny that you bring that up, Burger Motion, because I actually have them here. Yes, I have heard of Frank and Elda. I saw, wait, Frank Elda, whatever it's called. I watched a trailer for it. I'll watch it. Looks pretty good. Yeah, I think it's made entirely in Mexico, which is really cool. It's it's nice to hear of a stop motion film getting made. Okay, so Burger Motion. To answer your question, you see this bag right here? This bag contains parts from. These are all parts from Brick Bob films that either faded or maybe the print got a little scratched. So I keep them in here just for safekeeping. So like I have this. Sure, I have some clay on my hands, so I want to be really careful. You know what? Actually, before I handle these, I'm gonna wipe my hands. It's for my own peace of mind. The SpongeBob specials, I have to look at those. SpongeBob specials are pretty tricky because like I love Christmas Who. I love Shanghai. The Sponge Who Could Fly, even though I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites now. That was the first episode of SpongeBob I ever saw. SpongeBob SquarePants BC is great. The main thing for me is the Patchy the Pirate segments. I would have to figure out what to do about that, but also the episodes themselves are like 20 minutes. So it's making remaking a regular episode of SpongeBob, which is about 11 minutes, is like that's already a lot. But remaking a special that's 20 minutes is that's a lot. I think I would rather make I'm gonna say it right now, I want to make Dunces and Dragons so bad. I have a really good vision for Dunces and Dragons, but even then that's going to be a big undertaking because it's 20 minutes. So hoping the more people that show up for these streams, for these production streams, the better. So I'm going to start out small. Like, just start out with regular episodes. Yeah, hold on a second. I have a bunch. Some of these are, like, okay. Where is it? Oh my god. Okay, okay, this is what I was looking for. So, shoot, I don't have a light up there. Maybe I could do this. Hopefully that reaches. Okay. So check this out. Like here's one, for example, Burger Motion. See this? It's so small. Well, I have to move the light back even more. I don't know if the camera can focus in on it. This camera does have good autofocus. There's some clay on my hand. Okay, that's good. So here's an example of one that's pretty faded, but I just kind of keep it. I just have extras. Some that have little scratches here and there. Like these two aren't that bad. They just have little imperfections. Sorry, my camera's just not really focusing in that close. But the one that I really want to show you guys is this one. Look at this. So obviously this one is the most faded. Hold on a second. So I'm doing this off of the camera. So this one is the most faded, but this helps me recognize that this was the first one that I was ever filming Brick Bob films with. This one is ancient. This is OG. So let me show you. This one right here is actually on the thumbnail of the, not the original, the remake of Lego SpongeBob Rock Bottom. Let me find it. I'm gonna show you. Yep. Here it is. I'm gonna put it up on my stream. Hello? Screen capture. Window. Yeah, wait till you see this. Yeah. Okay. You see that? That's the same one. 12 years ago. I remember making that when I was like 13? Wait. No, it has to be longer. Can you guys see my mouse? But yeah, this is the same one. This is the one that I'm holding in my hand. Except even back then, it wasn't quite as faded, but you could see where it was fading. And yeah, and it's just like, I straight up don't know what I'm supposed to do with these. I'm gonna remove that. Like, it's great that I have them. But sometimes I think if I should, like, sell them or something. Like, as an artifact. Like, how do you even price something like this? Like, so many memories, you know? I can't believe that I have this one. Let's see. No, these are just alternate SpongeBobs. Yeah, I think this Patrick right here, his print is pretty fine, but the problem with this one isn't the print, is there are cracks all over this guy. You can't see it on the camera. I'm so sorry about that, but yeah, there are, I'm trying to see right here. There's 2 cracks on the bottom here on each side. On the back, there are 2 cracks on pretty much the same, you know, it's just like the front. there's a crack on the side. Yeah, there's a crack on the side here. There's a really big crack on the other side. That would happen sometimes. The clay, not the clay, the Legos, the plastic would, it would crack along the side, which would make the arms kind of loose. There's cracks along the arms. There's crack right down the center of his face, his head mold. This one just cracked a whole lot. Yeah, there's just, yeah, it's just, there's a lot. I have a Mrs. Puff in here. I think she just has a scratch on her front that I didn't like. Yeah, she has a scratch on her front. Ay. This Mr. Krabs just has so much, like all the lines for his teeth gone. It's just white. Yeah, working with the Legos, just you gotta. That's the thing. It's like I don't know if it's just me, but I'm very particular when it comes to things like preserving my material that I work with, whether it's clay, whether it's the print or the plastics. You know, these things have to be photographed from really up close. I want these to look as good as possible, and even if you know you keep your clay clean the best you can, same thing, you know, preserve your Legos, stuff is still going to get photographed. Any minor, the slightest imperfection is going to get captured. But at the same time, that's how you know it was made by humans, you know? So a little is okay, but I don't want too much. Yeah, my old episodes of Brick Bob Films was like, some of those would get really beat up. A bag of corpses. Yeah, wait, guys, where did that rumor start? I'm guessing it started on Twitter or X. I can't call that app X without saying Twitter first. X is just like such a bad name for a social media app. At least a PG app, one that's not related to adult content. To me, X just is such a bad name for an app. I get that, like, what Elon's company, SpaceX or something, it's SpaceX, so it probably there's some brand cohesion, but to me, it's just such a bad name. It doesn't even sound like you're saying an app name. It doesn't feel good to say. But yeah, like, one of the reasons I just try and avoid social media is because there's so much misinformation out there. What freaks me out is like when people will see stuff on social media and then immediately go around telling other people so and so, and it's like, nah, dude, you see something on X, you see something on Instagram, you see something on TikTok, and you know you think it actually happened. Make sure that you check other sources, just a few, you know. I can't tell you how many times I've seen something that was just blatantly false on social media. And it's a shame because like there's some really good creators out there on social media that have followings and such, but to me it's like it's too few and far between, and it's not enough. Like even if you only follow like work that you're really a fan of, like it's still not enough to justify the fact that you know the purpose of these apps is just for you know you to use them as long as you can so the companies will make the money, you know what I mean? I find that with YouTube there's at least a bit more of a relationship between you and the creator. It doesn't always necessarily happen, but I think that the creator the content creator on YouTube does have more tools to connect with their audience. You know what I mean? That's what I think. Hey man, yeah, get out of here. Go work on your creative stuff. Just kidding. It was great having you here as always. But yeah, do your creative stuff. Thanks for popping in. We're gonna be around. Neptune's spatula. Yeah, I don't know. Neptune's spatula is not an episode that I'm incredibly fond of. I don't dislike it. I just don't find it particularly remarkable. I think it would be cool to do Neptune spatula and have like a clay animation King Neptune. I think that could be cool. But that would also be a lot of work, and I don't think it's a particularly popular request, but granted, it's just if I were to do an episode with clay animation effects, like I want it. Just trying to think. I don't know. Like it's just not an episode that I'm super fond of, but I wouldn't say that I'm like I disconfirm it or say I'm never doing it. It is a season 1 episode after all, and season 1's pretty goated. Season 1's very very special season to me. It's very it's tonally different from season 2 and 3. Season 2 and 3 are more like this. Might just get like a big bucket for all this stuff. I couldn't bring myself to throw this stuff out. Nah. It's perfectly good, you know? Yeah, when I did the Clay Fighter project and I was making like actual sets for that project, I was using this stuff a lot. You see different combinations of colors all blended together, and you remember what project you used that clay for. I wish that I could just melt all of it to make it one, to make it become just one color, but that would be way too messy and way too elaborate. What other piece set did I order? Everything's just so expensive. I just know that I've been saying for so long that I'm gonna get that closet situation sorted out, have it more neat, more tidy. But in order to really achieve that, I have to order new shelves and new drawers and stuff. And I don't really feel like putting down the money for that quite yet. I'm too cheap. Jacob, I haven't seen that, but I agree with him. Yeah, it's really I don't know. Voice actors are tough cuz like ideally you would have voice actors voicing these animated characters, but I don't know. Like, now all you see are A-list Hollywood celebrities playing these cartoon characters. You have Chris Pratt as Mario. Chris Pratt is what was the other one? Garfield. Why would you get Chris Pratt to be Garfield? Oh, you want a comedic character? Oh yeah, you don't need someone to actually try and do a voice. Just get Seth Rogen to play Donkey Kong. Get John Mulaney to play uh, Big Jack Horner. Granted, I liked Jack Horner's performance. I liked John Mulaney playing Jack Horner. I'm not saying I disliked him, but just yeah. There was this animator on social media, No the Robot, and he like made this funny video on Instagram where he was talking about like he was like how A-list Hollywood celebrities when they're talking about and voicing a character in an animated movie, and he's like, "Yeah, I didn't I didn't even know what a Super Mario was until my kids told me, and and I and I just thought like once they told me who Super Mario was, I was like, oh man, I guess I have to voice it because my kids love the character. I mean, sure, I guess getting paid $22 million is fine, but no, I gotta do it for my kids. I'm just like it's so brilliant. I mean, I guess getting paid $22 million is okay, but it's for my kids. I really just did this for my kids. They love They love the Mario. They love the Nintendo. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. But but yeah, so you have like all that stuff going on with, I guess, let's just call it like the big industry, the Hollywood film industry. But nowadays, even on the internet, you get content creators who are big for not necessarily their voice acting work, but really their personality. So like someone showed me uh, recently that like what was it? There was a new cartoon that came out by I guess some Game Grump people. I heard it was Ross. I don't even know if that's true. I don't even. It was like called the Gameaverse or something. But you had Aaron Hansen of Game Grumps voicing multiple characters because I could tell it was his voice, and Dan Avidan, also from Game Grumps, he voiced a character from an Apartment D production, Rough Rough Power Dogs, I think it was. He voiced a main character. Like he's got a good voice, but I don't know. Like these are people that are known for their personality. You have Jay Schlatt voicing a character in Gameaverse. So it's just like, yeah, that's kind of the weird. It's the weird paradox. Is like we're seeing what's going on in the Hollywood film industry happening here on YouTube. Like I look like I understand that it's like you want to have some kind of a combination between genuine voice acting talent and someone who's established as a creator. I think it really depends on what your goals are. If you're trying to get tons of views and tons of publicity, then getting Jay Schlatt or Dan Avidan or I don't think Markiplier doesn't need to do voice acting. He could do literally whatever he wants, and people would watch it. A good for him. But yeah, it's like if you're really trying to go for the views, you gotta kind of go for the celebrities. But if you're just doing something just for the passion for it, then you could get whatever you want. Once again, it's like the more money that goes into something, the more time and resources that goes into something, people want to see like that kind of a return. Yeah, I only know about him because of my girlfriend. Because he's from like a sphere of like content creators that I just don't watch. I don't watch a lot of YouTubers very regularly. I like to use YouTube as like a platform for creating. I try not to get I try not to get sucked into watching consuming the internet like regularly, because I already have to use it for work. I mean, from what I can ascertain, from what I've seen, Jay Schlatt, he's an internet celebrity. He's known for like doing his own thing, like being himself. But he has so many channels and has dabbled in so many things. It's just like I couldn't tell you what people typically associate him with. He's just Jay Schlatt, you know. So not last night, Saturday it was. In Saturday's stream, I think someone was talking about Mega Bloks Dragons, and we were talking about it for a bit, and he recommended a video. He sent it to me on Instagram. I told him to send it to me on Instagram, and he sent it to me, and I watched it. Mega Bloks Dragons was this. It was a line of this awesome line of toys by Mega Bloks that I loved years before I got into Lego SpongeBob. But I rebought some on eBay last year, and I just had this really really cool idea of doing Dunces and Dragons using the Mega Bloks Dragons sets. Now, if you want to see some Mega Bloks Dragons stuff, you can look it up. But also, I did include them at the Mr. Magic Castle in Hocus Pocus. But they're so visually exciting because unlike Legos, the Mega Bloks toys they're like intricately sculpted molds. They're intricately sculpted casts. Like they're really really cool. And like that's an example of how like that kind of visual variety I think would integrate really well into Dunces and Dragons. Brickbot Films Dunces and Dragons 20-minute special. I would rather do that than remaking Christmas Who. Actually, I think I did remake Christmas Who in like 2015 or 2016. Aquafina was good in Dark Crystal. I feel like that's just because Aquafina already does sound like a Skeksis. You know what I mean? I watched Search for SquarePants a few nights ago, and they got. I was like, why does the Flying Dutchman sound like a Skeksis from the new Dark Crystal show? I'm like, is that Mark Hamill? Looked it up, and sure enough, it's Mark Hamill. Yeah. Her voice is just too obnoxious and literally recognizable. Yeah. Oh boy. I think she was in the SpongeBob movie. I don't dare say which one because I just don't remember. Might have been Sponge on the Run. Oh, Sponge on the Run. So bad. Search for SquarePants was not good, but I have yet. I think you would really, really, really have to try to make a film, a SpongeBob film, be worse than Sponge on the Run. Sponge on the Run is just so awful. Yeah, when Search for SquarePants came out, I was not interested in seeing it. Definitely not interested in seeing it in the theaters. Not paying $20 to see it in the theaters. You've got to be kidding me. Oh really? I am not kidding. I forgot. that robot was that there was a robot in the movie. He was like a companion or a sidekick. I genuinely forgot. I will say Blueberry Boy. It's after seeing all these subsequent atrocious SpongeBob movies, it has made Sponge Out of Water look better by comparison. I will say that because Sponge Sponge Out of Water was, even though I don't think it's good, it does like it does feel like a cinematic experience. The animation quality is there, the special effects quality is there. Just the story is hardly a cinematic experience, I feel like. It feels more like a SpongeBob TV special, but it's definitely way more cinematic than Sponge, well, Search for SquarePants, Sandy Cheeks movie, Plankton movie. Granted, Plankton movie and Sandy Cheeks, those both showed up on, those premiered on Netflix. But Sponge on the Run has the animation quality, but the script is just so unapologetically horrible that it devalues the animation. Yeah, the Plankton movie was better. Like it's definitely kind of more in the middle. It's not nearly on the level as something like Sponge on the Run. I'd rather rewatch the Plankton movie. Yeah, so Mark Hamill's kind of interesting because he is obviously a screen actor, but he is an established voice actor. I mean, we talked about this with what Robin Williams and his voice acting. Like Robin Williams had the chops to do voice acting very, very well. He was just a genius for really getting into the mind of a character. But Robin Williams, he that was an extra skill that he had. That's not something that Chris Pratt can do. Chris Pratt can't do what Robin Williams did. I actually think that it's awesome that Mark Hamill is doing voice acting because his face and his likeness is so synonymous with the character Luke Skywalker, which is a once in in an eon role. I don't know how difficult it was for him to get regular acting work after that, just like on screen acting. I heard that he auditioned for Amadeus to play Mozart, and he was told, like, we're not hiring you because we don't want Luke Skywalker playing Mozart. Personally, like, I would not be surprised if he had a genuinely hard time getting acting, like screen acting work after Star Wars and just developed a new skill. But either way, good for him. I think he definitely put in the work. Yeah, I have to disassemble this guy. When, oh man, this was like 2025. Okay, this is over a year ago. When I was animating that demo reel that I was submitting to Leica, I I was gonna do a shot. I wanted to do one shot with the stop motion armature, the clown guy for Free Smiles. That was supposed to be the only shot with the ball and socket armature. But after I finished it, I I liked it so much. I was like, I have got to use this for every remaining shot in the demo reel. I made this in advance because I wanted to do a shot with the sticky bones puppet, a shot with the stop motion ball and socket armature, and a shot with a clay wire puppet. But I just ended up loving how the ball and socket armature came out so much. That shot, Free Smiles, that I ended up not using this guy and just going forward with what? I made 3 additional shots using the ball and socket armature. Where even is he? He's somewhere in there. He has clothes on, so you can't see the joints anymore. I do wish that these sets didn't come with small containers. Those are driving me a little bit nuts. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I don't need the small containers. Yeah, I couldn't imagine what that must be like navigating that. But like I also pursued acting at one point. Oh, I studied acting at the university, and I thought that the study of acting was really really cool, but it was just like I don't think I really gravitating to doing it traditionally, like auditioning for theater and like or whatever you can audition for. There are infinite different kinds of things that you can audition for with varying levels of quality and professionality. But the main thing for me was like if one is to pursue acting by traditional means, like what are you supposed to do? The only thing you can do is network and audition, and even then networking is the more important part. Like that was my experience. And when I was in the college, I was looking at what the kids that were graduating, like what were they doing? What was stuff looking like on the other side of being in college for 4 years and learning how to say words that other people have written? Like what were they doing after all that? And to me, I looked at where they were after after 4 years, sometimes 5, and I was like, yeah, that's not where I want to be in 5 years. I know that by doing my own thing, I could do a lot more. Blueberry Boy, I did also watch for season 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm trying to think when I really dropped off. When my mom stopped getting me SpongeBob DVDs. I think there came a point where she stopped getting me the SpongeBob DVDs, but seasons 1 through 5 were on Netflix for a really long time, and then I would I would just rewatch those. What's going on? Thanks for saying hi. Another spontaneous stream, you know. I just had stuff to do on my desk. As you can see, we're pretty loaded. All right. 11. I have seen a lot of people ask for Squidward and Clarinet Land, but I haven't seen it. I don't know what season it's from. Maybe I saw it once because I was getting so many requests for it. It really is tough because you can get a vocal minority of people asking for a video and then publish it, and no one else, like, I mean, it doesn't perform that well. But then again, I kind of have to remind myself that I really don't have any control over what episode or just video period is going to take off on YouTube and which one doesn't. Not even adding all the fancy effects, animation skills, or claymation skills you want can guarantee an episode will just take off. Frankendoodle doesn't have a lot of clay animation special effects. I mean, it barely has any, and it's the most popular video on Brickbob Films, you know? I actually heard about that film, Music, Jacob. I heard about that film. There's actually a really good there's a good video on YouTube. I haven't seen it in a long time, but it was comparing the depiction of autism in that film, Music, versus Adam Elliott's Mary and Max, which I've talked about on this channel. That film, one of my favorite stop motion animator, filmmaker, auteurs, Adam Elliott. He made an amazing film, stop motion animated film. I think one of the best stop motion animated films ever. Mary and Max. If you're looking for a film that really, like, that depicts a character with autism in a very sophisticated way, watch Mary and Max. Mary and Max is just such a beautiful, beautiful movie. It's not a particularly happy movie. It does have some comedy, but you know, Adam Elliott's a tearjerker, and he's good at it. But Mary and Max is just so amazing. Personally, I like it better than his latest film, Memoir of a Snail. I really did enjoy Memoir of a Snail. Has all the same appeal, the same handmade appeal, but call it call it nostalgia. But Mary and Max is just so good. I'm debating on whether buying a 22-piece set or a 34-piece set. I'm really like I'm all about not ordering more than I need. I don't like paying for too much stuff, you know? I get 10 pieces? What drives me crazy about these sets is they come with too many small containers. And I maybe see about doing the 22 piece. Yeah. It does feel good to not see them being exposed to any particulates floating in the air anymore. The clay, it is very nice. Okay, so right now, and I'm only considering this because I'm a total masochist, but there's there's this there's this project coming up. It's called the 48-hour film project. It's like this special film festival that happens, I think, all around the United States, a few different cities. There's one near me, and I went to it last year because I knew a whole group of people that were making a film for it. And I'm thinking of like, what if I did a stop motion animated film for that festival and like live stream the whole production right here on this channel? So I'm currently reviewing the rules, but it looks like I think for a film to be considered for it, you have to I think you have to it has to be at least 4 minutes or something, which is pretty intimidating. I'm like really thinking about like, is this really smart? Of course it isn't, but how cool would it be to be the only person at a film festival where you made something that was animated? There's never anything else animated there. But I'm looking at the rules just to kind of see if it would be a good idea, but I don't know. Also, there's Brickbot Films coming up, but it shouldn't be too big a deal because Brickbot Films will be filmed on this desk, but I have another desk right there. If I turned my camera just 90 degrees, you would see it. I could just make it right there. So, still ruminating on it. Yeah, because I think it would be pretty interesting to see what animated film I could cook up, like original animated film I could cook up under such stress. It would definitely be stressful. But there's that voice inside of you that's like, "Ooh, maybe you should do it." Anyway, I may do it, I may not. Kind of on the fence. Because once you register a spot for yourself, it's like you're in. You paid your fee. Everybody has a team, by the way, because everyone's doing live action. But I'd be pretty curious to see what would come of it. I think my biggest fear is making something that I think just sucks, but that hasn't happened yet. Whenever I make an animation, I'm not disappointed in it. There are always ways that you can improve, but you know, yeah, ideally I would have a team, but like, I mean, I've seen what I can make by myself, and I don't know. I don't see what waiting would do would do for it. Like, I don't know. If I can't make it now, then why would I make it next year? Because something's always going to come up. You know what I mean? Yo, what's up, Pasty? Don't mention it anytime. Pasty surprised everyone. Yeah, last stream. Anyway, we're gonna see because right now I am mentally preparing for for Brickbob Films and doing client work, but things are looking like they're gonna line up pretty good. And once again, I have another desk now. We're more set up for filming, so I think I don't know. I just like call it too much enthusiasm, but seeing what decisions would be made to make a film in in 48 hours is just yeah. Um, a heck of a lot longer than 2 days. That's how long it would take. But that's the thing. Nowadays, my animated films are so edited. There's a lot of preparation. I will make storyboard animatics, and I will have editing, post production phase, and all that stuff. But back when I started, I would just film and then put the raw animation file up online when I would publish it. So I'm thinking like that's an example of what decisions you're making under such stress. Like I think right off the top of my head, what I am good at is animating quick, reasonably quick. It's never that does not mean that it is quick, but I think I could animate something pretty quick. And doing it in such a way where I don't have a post production phase. I would definitely have to skip the pre production where I do an animatic. I would just do it straight from my head. But the way I see it, I have a camera, I have digital media, I have clay, and I have lights. So call it too much confidence or whatever, but yeah, like that's the other thing. Like I'm not in college, so it's like, you know, I'm not encumbered by five additional classes hanging over my head. No, totally. I knew kids that were in college that were doing this. I mean, granted, it is summertime, everyone's on break. But that's the thing. It's like animation does take a long time, but I'm also set up in such a way where I am used to doing stuff on my own and I do have a process. It's just stripping all of the arbitrary stuff like post production and pre production and doing something on my own anyway. Well, it would. I think it would be very interesting to see what would come out of that. Because I remember when I was in college, like I was part of a class where we had to prepare theater pieces, and there was like one night where all week I was thinking about what I would perform for the class, and I could not think of anything all week. And like, I'm not kidding, like 12 hours before, it was like 2 in the morning, I just had an idea in my head, and I did a really rough edit beforehand, and then I delivered it the next day, and everyone loved it. Yeah, that's the other thing about college. It's so needlessly stressful for no good reason. Look, doing one class is one thing, but doing multiple is just I could not in any universe justify it. Like what's the point? How are you supposed to get invested in learning something if you're doing 5 classes at once and it's dominating your entire life? Because I feel like the priority at that point isn't really getting invested in what you're learning or what you're building or what you're studying. The priority is just keeping your head above water. Yeah, when I was in college, I felt like I was drowning 24/7, you know? They just never let you have a break. Granted, if I was like trying to become a doctor, like whatever, I would do it, but I I realized I did not want to go into medicine either. Yeah, the conclusion that I came to was that, like, typically what people would be doing after college, things like, getting real job experience, doing, like creating a robust portfolio, like doing all of those things. Like I was already doing that, and college ended up just throwing a wrench in all that. Granted, I only have this perspective now because I did try college, but that was why I didn't last. I did like 2 years, and I was like, yep, I'm gonna go back to doing my own thing. Well, actually, that's not really what happened. I dropped out of college and then I pursued a different career, but and I went to school for something else. It wasn't college, but it was school. But then after I realized I didn't want to do that, I said, yeah, I'm going to do my own thing. And I made the Clay Fighter musical right after. Yeah, especially for like this line of like creative work. Like after I dropped out of college, I went outside and just started networking. I was going to parties and I was trying to get connected with the local creative community. And then I ended up just like meeting some really, really cool people. And it all took place outside of college, it was because I was always curious about like how to continue doing the creative work once school was over, because I felt I got the sense that college could teach you a lot about how to make creative stuff, like fundamentals, all that stuff, working with different materials, having a teacher, professor look at your stuff. But there wasn't nearly enough conversation about how to survive doing the thing that you're learning. You know what I mean? To me, that's kind of it's like basic, you know? Like that should be like the most important thing, you know? Because you could be the greatest artist in the world, but you're gonna need to find some applicability for it. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to sell it to somebody. You're gonna have to that art that you make is gonna have to solve somebody's problem to the point where they're gonna say, yes, I'm gonna hire you or I'm gonna give you my money because what you do is solving a problem that I'm having. That I think is just so important. Yeah, if you can make friends in college, like that's great. But from my experience, college is just not a good environment for making friends. Because like everyone is so encumbered with work, and there is like this fun communal experience knowing that like everybody is going through it together. Everyone has classes. Everyone's trying to everyone's going through midterms together, this and that and this and that. But at the same time, you have people coming from all over to go to school where you are, and there's a good chance that everyone will just go off in different directions once college is over. And not only that, but even once your classes are over, it's like everyone goes off and has to take a different class. It's a very fast, very very fast lifestyle, and it's making those like strong connections is it's tough. It's very tough. Yeah, I think another thing that I really didn't. Yo, what's up? Wait, hold on a second. Someone in here really has a Beetlebug 2 profile photo. That's a crazy reference. I salute you, Star the First. That's what I'll call you. So much nostalgia. But yeah, as I was saying, yeah, that was like another thing that I felt like in college was that when I was like right before I went to college, I was making episodes of Brick Bob Films during COVID. I made I made like just that previous May, I made Survival of the Idiots, which was that episode was great. It was wonderful. I had such a fun time making those videos, and I I was also selling pieces because I learned how to make casts and molds during COVID. It was such a fun time, and I was getting paid to do it. I was getting paid well. But then, like, once I started going to college, I felt like I was being taught how to be a slave, to just work with the highest amount of intensity and stress all the time and not get paid for it and pay tons of money to do it. And just, it was in my position where I was, like, it just didn't make sense. It felt like a huge step backwards after this online business I made. Yeah, Beetlebug 2 and Beetlebug 3 I talked about on this channel years ago. I still use the Beetlebug 2 theme my like my demo reels. It's such a good theme. Like the in-game suite, it's just it's got such a good beat to it. I don't want to touch that piece until I wash my hands, to be honest. It's making me too nervous. I was like, I'm gonna break this off. Wait, is this? Oh, that looks like epoxy putty. I'm gonna need something strong to break that. It's like basically cement. Gravy. Oh, yeah, I have to order more floral tape. So, when I work with the wire armatures, you'll see that he's a little bit green. The reason for that is because I cover these in floral tape because what is it, the aluminum, I think it's aluminum. Anyway, the metal from the wire rubs off on the clay. It gets like a metallic dust on the clay, and I hate it. But on the flip side, I also want the armature to be clean when I apply clay onto it for a future puppet, so I use floral tape. No, I haven't heard of that. I know that Beetlebug had a spin-off. What, half inch? That's half inch. Yes. I'm gonna have to look that up. Green Valley. Oh, yeah, there he is. Oh, wow, totally different genre. But yeah, the art style. Oh, that's cool. That I just never know what I'm going to encounter when I do these streams. Like, I always get someone showing up giving me some crazy information that of like some obscure thing that I talked about years ago. Oh, it's on Big Fish Games? Big Fish was where I got almost all of my games from childhood. The computer games. That's crazy. There was a game that I talked about on Clay Kremling that was very, I guess, farm-like. It was called Super Cow, and you can see the video on this channel, but it like it had this very beautiful art style and a very high frame rate. It had 3D models for the characters, but all the environments were these digitized, compressed like 2D illustrations, and it looked really beautiful, and the game ran very well. And yeah, it was my Yoshi's Island, which had a similarly very beautiful advanced style. Yeah, wasn't that great about Big Fish? Every game you could try for an hour before deciding whether or not to buy it. It made it so easy to explore and try new games. Yeah. I do have all the games from my Big Fish library on my PC, which is great. But yeah, no, Big Fish. There's still a lot that I need to revisit. I was saving a lot of them for Clay Kremling reviews, so I didn't revisit all of them. But yeah, I don't know if you can still get Super Cow on Big Fish. I really don't know. Either way, you could see the Clay Kremling episode on it if you want to see what the game looks like. And oh, you can get it on Steam. Never mind. You can play it. I don't watch SpongeBob gameplays on YouTube, but ugh, one of my favorite SpongeBob games has got to be Atlantis Square Pantis Square Off. It's so good. It's like an amazing game. I played through it last year. It is so so good, but I don't think there's anywhere that you can buy it online. I got mine on Big Fish when I was a really young kid, but I don't think you can get it on Big Fish anymore. But I did make a Clay Kremling episode on it. I also had Atlantis Square Pantis, the video game for Nintendo DS, but no. I mean, I had a lot of fun with that one, but Atlantis Square Pantis Square Off, that game holds a special place in my heart. The music's good, the art style's really good, the gameplay is stimulating, and it's kind of challenging. I mean, you can breeze through it when you're an adult, but as a kid, it was pretty challenging. Chicken Attack Deluxe? That sounds like so much fun. The fact that it has deluxe at the end makes me think of Zuma Deluxe or Dynamite Deluxe or Insaniquarium Deluxe. Insaniquarium Deluxe is amazing, by the way. That was another video I had to talk about on Clay Kremling. I'm noticing some similarities in the game's art style. I like that. Yeah, the what was it? Drawing a blank. Beetlebug 3. It had like an art style that looked like it could be very stop motiony. that was the other thing. Just video games I played growing up were just a huge source of creative inspiration. Yeah, I did see Search for SquarePants. I talked about that a bit earlier. I am definitely going to be talking about these SpongeBob movies over and over to come, for years to come, and probably a lot of other movies because people are going to ask about it. And I'm always good to talk about movies, like even if I've talked about them before. But like, yeah, once I start doing production live streams for BrickBob Films, it's gonna be a lot. But no, I finally saw Search for SquarePants. Me and my friend, we do this thing where we watch all of the SpongeBob movies together, like the new ones that are coming out, because we grew up with SpongeBob together. But yeah, we finally watched Search for SquarePants, and it was definitely a movie. Yeah, just wasn't good. Definitely not the worst of all the SpongeBob movies. The bottom is definitely Sponge on the Run. That's definitely the bottom. But yeah, Search for SquarePants was just kind of nothing. It didn't have the worst animation of all the SpongeBob movies, but what I thought was really bizarre about it was the animation did not look like it was meant for the silver screen. It looked like it was meant to debut or premiere on Netflix or Paramount Plus. The fidelity of the animation just wasn't at the level that looked like, yeah, I could see this playing in theaters. It looked like it was straight to video animation. Most of the budget probably went towards hiring Mark Hamill to show up. The story was the exact same. It was the exact same story as the first SpongeBob movie from 2004, except told worse in every single way. You have the start of the movie, which is just very flaccid. You have the second act, which all takes place in this Mario Party board game map that kind of looks like the trench from the first SpongeBob movie. And then you have the climax where they go on a roller coaster, which was just really lame. And oh man, oh yeah, there was the Ice Spice cameo. I remember when the movie came out, a lot of people were complaining about Ice Spice dressing inappropriately at the premiere or something like that. I don't know what an Ice Spice is. I don't listen to her music and I don't care. But I have to say, I was surprised how bad the song was. The song was really bad. Like, really, really bad. It's it's SpongeBob, big guy, okay, big guy, SpongeBob, big guy, SpongeBob, big guy, okay, SpongeBob. Like that's the whole song. It just sucks. There's not even a key change towards the end or a half step up to let you know that the song's about to end. It's just SpongeBob, big guy, okay, SpongeBob, big guy. The whole song. It's so bad. Like in Sponge Out of Water, that song by, what was it, Nerd? Squeeze Me? That song was super out of place and awkward, but at least it was kind of catchy. But this Ice Spice song is just like, why? Do the kids like Ice Spice? Yeah, I don't know. I think that just the whole thing with like modern SpongeBob just being this vehicle for a lot of like lazy corporate decisions, like you can clearly see that it was like, oh, just throw a few celebrities in there, make it SpongeBob, call it a day. Like I remember seeing Truth or Square as a kid, which was like an hour long anniversary special for SpongeBob, and it's just an amalgam of celebrity cameos. And I remember watching it, and of course, I love Tom Kenny as Patchy the Pirate. I love Patchy the Pirate, but it's just, oh, there's Tina Fey. Oh, there's Robin Williams. I mean, I like Robin Williams, but it's just like, oh, there's Will Ferrell for a minute on the phone. Oh, there's Pink. I don't know. There's just something about like about seeing just like SpongeBob and just throw some celebrities in. Oh, Sponge on the Run. Keanu Reeves. Oh, Snoop Dogg, Danny Trejo. It's just like there's just something that makes me sick just seeing it. Just like I'm just picturing a bunch of like rich corporate suits at Viacom being like, oh yeah, let's throw a A-list pop person in there. There you go. Like, come on, dude. I the In the first SpongeBob movie, what was it? The David Hasselhoff cameo, that was totally ridiculous. But it also worked because wasn't that show off the air for a really long time by the time that movie came out? Must have been off for at least 5 years. Yeah, everyone says that about Steven Hillenberg. Yeah. Oh well, it's a good thing he's dead because when you're dead, you're not gonna mind, right? That's what I always say about me. I'm like, look, when I'm dead, I won't mind. I it did not When I'm dead, I will not be the slightest bit inconvenienced. Oh gosh, Camp Coral. Yeah, don't even get me started. Yeah, that's oh my gosh, it's so bad. That movie is just a giant middle finger to the audience. Like, if you want to know what it's like watching Sponge on the Run, just imagine a guy just flipping you off for an hour and a half, and then like during the last 10 minutes, he says, "Oh, by the way, remember to go watch Camp Coral," and then just goes back to flipping you off. That's what it's like watching Sponge on the Run. It's so bad. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I'm super down to talk about, continue our nerd chat, but I have other things to get to, and I think I've kind of hit a wall here. I just have to order the stuff and then package these up, which I don't know, maybe I'll do in a stream sometime. But everyone who's here, consider becoming a channel member and check out the Patreon. You can join for free, so you can stay connected with me in case I ever vanish from YouTube for whatever reason. But yeah, join in on the Patreon. You can join for free. Consider becoming a channel member. Stick around soon because I'm going to be doing more streams, and I have productions lined up this year that I want to film right here. And I would love to see all of you guys show up so we can continue talking. But in the meantime, thank you very much for joining, and I'm going to end the stream.